Well, hi, g'day everyone. Can everyone hear me? I want to, again, start with, like everyone else, and thank everyone for being here tonight. Those who are up on the table, the most important people in the room are you here. Actually, the second most important people in the room are you here. The most important people is my mother, sitting there. My name's Heston Russell, and I founded the Australian Values Party in September, and I'm now standing as the lead Senate candidate for the Australian Values Party here in Queensland. I employ one staff member, my friend Sam, who's been with me the last 2 years, and my team of advisors is my mother, who's a registered nurse here in Prince Charles, my sister, who's studying nursing, my father, who's a veteran of 34 years in the army, my stepfather, who is an electrician up in the Moorvale coal mine, my niece, born with cerebral palsy, who lives in a wheelchair her whole life, and my nephew, who's in 17 in grade 12 and has lived the realities of being restricted from being around school in his community the last 2 years. My own story is I grew up here in Brisbane, went to school out at Ferny Grove and left at 17 to join the military, where I spent 4 years in Canberra, the Defence Force Academy in RMC, and then 3 years in Townsville, where I deployed to East Timor, and then I joined the Special Forces in 2010, where I served 4 deployments to Afghanistan and 1 to Iraq. I'm a 5th generation veteran, the direct male descendants of my family down to myself, and I now have a 6th generation with my cousin who is currently at Kapuka. And my time in the military was fun, it was enjoyable. I was surrounded by those who had like-minded on the mission as myself, with purpose, and I never struggled with any of the issues that I see in our country at the moment, because I didn't really care who was in government because I knew what I was doing. I didn't have to deal with the media because I was in Special Forces and they left us alone. And all that I see now over the last 2 years is exactly those two elements, the government and media causing the real crisis in our country, a crisis of leadership and a mental health crisis that I generally am concerned about. I say that because a year ago I was down in Canberra with a piece of paper calling for the government to call a motion for a Royal Commission into defence and veteran suicide. I met with George Christensen, I met with Pauline Hanson, I met with Craig Kelly, and I got them all to sign it, and I got passed through the Senate and through the lower house. And it was during that time where I got to see how truly broken our political system is. It is filled with parties who are filled with factions who are more focused on serving themselves and their own progression than they are the Australian people. I had to spend 4 years in Canberra at the Defence Force Academy and Royal Military College before I was allowed to be responsible for 30 people. My entire military career, you the taxpayer paid 16 years for me to be a professional planner, to be excellent in leadership, which is as a service to people, which is motivating people through inspiration. And the one thing that connected us to wherever we went and us together as a community were those values that I had to draw upon to bring myself out of my own mental health and suicidation crisis in 2020, and that has seen so many of my fellow veterans to lose more of our mates after deployment than we did in combat. So what I did was, I Googled it, and we actually have a set of Australian values. We have the Australian Values Statement that we require everyone coming into our country on a visa or to be a citizen to sign and agree to. The first of those is respect for the freedom and dignity of the individual. So when I hear conversations about medical mandates and pro-choice, I wonder why we require everyone coming into our country to abide by these, but we do not. Commitment to the rule of law is a second, and equality of opportunity regardless of any labels. And as we sit here and tear ourselves apart over COVID mandates and everything else, I want to take the moment to pause and reflect upon what is happening on Monday, ANZAC Day. In 1914 to 1918, we sent over 400,000 young men my age, between the ages of 18 and 44, overseas to fight for our country of less than 5 million people. They went as volunteers, not because the government told them to do so, but because they believed in who we are. They knew who we were as a country, and they went and fought for that purpose. Without purpose and without that identity, we are communities in conflict. And right here and right now, we have a government that can't even bring premiers together to serve and support our people and bring them together as a nation. The Australian Values Party, I have a team of 10 candidates, 8 of those are veterans, and we are here to serve and support you. I would encourage you to ask us questions on our policies to do with aged care, defence, manufacturing, and I'll tell you how we think, not just what we think, and the process will bring to every policy in the service to you, the Australian people.